Hello and good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's European briefing. So this is a 20-minute live webinar where we'll be taking an in-depth look at the trading day ahead. So just before I explain what we'll cover, please do familiarize yourself with our disclaimer. It's important you are aware of the risks involved in trading financial markets. So hopefully, if you're watching this through the recording, you're very welcome to stop this recording and just familiarize yourself with the disclaimer currently up on screen. Okay, so just to cover a few pieces of housekeeping, please feel free to ask questions at any point throughout. You can locate your chat box on the right of your screen. For our members, this live webinar is being recorded and will be made available in your members area once the webinar is concluded. And of course, we'll have our Q&A at the end of this live webinar. Right, so in this live webinar, we will be doing a number of things. We'll start off by reviewing potential market moving news for the day. We really want to see if there is any news events that can impact some of the trades we're in. And then we're going to review the previous day's price action. So we'll be looking at daily timeframes, having a bit of an overview of that market, who's in control of it, and that will allow us to develop a trade plan for the day ahead. So that's when we select what trades we are looking at in more detail. Okay, so let's start with a review of the potential market moving news. For this, I'm going to bring up Forex Factory. So today is Tuesday, the 24th of April, and we had some news regarding the Australian dollar, but as you can see, no major variation at all. So we had a CPI quarterly figure, and it just came in marginally below forecast, 0.5. We had a print of 0.4. So we'll have a look at the Aussie dollar very shortly, and you'll see how that has impacted. It's worth noting that today is a bank holiday in New Zealand and Australia. It's Anzac Day, so it's a commemorative day. So I suppose the reality of that is the potential for these markets to be a little bit lighter. However, the Australasian markets have now effectively closed for the day. So now we move on to the European and the US markets. So we'll when we have a look at the charts very shortly, you'll be able to see the kind of the volatility in these markets. So they have been somewhat less volatile, let's say. However, there is a caveat regarding the New Zealand dollar, which we'll focus on very, very shortly. So that's just a little overview of the news. We do have 3 p.m. Consumer confidence figure, which is always quite interesting to see how that figure, what we actually get printed with regards to the consumer confidence figure. So 126 is the aim, and if you click on the news tab, it gives you some information about this news release. So it's just really it's a leading indicator of consumer spending, which accounts for the majority of overall economic activity. So actually how much confidence people have to spend is obviously quite an important indicator. So we'll be looking at that, and it has the potential to be volatile if we get a variation of 126. Okay, so that's a brief overview of the news. So let's go straight into the charts. And for this, we'll bring over our charting application. So let's start. We'll have a review of the daily timeframes. So we've been discussing for many times that this market has 2 major levels of resistance, potentially preventing prices from pushing higher. The first one is the 90.43, and we had a comprehensive break of that yesterday and didn't look back and just kept moving to the upside. And the second level is the 90.88. So this is a range-bound market since mid-January. So we're talking about the best part of 3 months of sideways moving markets, and we're at the upper band of the 90.88. So we'll be looking very closely at a break of this level. If we do get a confirmed break, then we shall be definitely looking to probably get it involved in this market to the upside. However, while prices are just below the 90.88 level, we will just put it on our watch list we do want to see prices break above that 90.88, just so that it stacks the odds in our favor a little bit more, because trading it below this level is just it's effectively a lower probability trade, so it has the potential to reverse to the downside. So we don't want to get into it just yet, but if price breaks above the 90.88, then this is a pretty decent move to the upside, and it'll effectively be a structural failure above the 90.88 level. So that's the dollar index. What you'll find with a lot of the dollar pairs, apart from one or two, is we're still trading again within that range. So it's a similar position in the euro dollar. Regarding the pound, we are continuing this pullback. It's a fairly straightforward pullback off the highs. It's kind of created a double top, and we've had a break of this ascending line to the downside as well. So we would anticipate a little bit of indecision at some point in this market. Maybe it's today. So we're going to watch this market again, very closely to see if we get continuation. This was our trade pick from yesterday. We were very happy to be looking for opportunities to buy this market above 107.90, and it's now 108.90. So we've seen a 100 pip move in this market. So that was a very profitable trade for us yesterday, and we are seeing continuation. So there's a little bit of weakness coming in to the yen, and of course we're seeing a little bit of strength in the US dollar. So we will be adding that to our watch list for the day. So moving on to the dollar CAD, we're getting a little bit of indecision just here at these highs, 28.45. We do have a take profit just currently above that level, but we'll see how today's price action pans out. We've been in this market since this price down here, so we do anticipate prices to push higher and to sort of move into this level of resistance in here around the 2900 level, and we've got our take profit just below that level. So hopefully we'll see that price being taken out over the next day or two. Moving on to the Aussie dollar, you can see we're effectively in this downtrend, as you can see. Sorry, let me just get up my pen so I can show you. So we have a series of lower highs in this market, and of course lower lows, which is a symptom of a downtrend. Whoops, excuse me. So you can get the general gist that we are in this downward move, and we are pushing lower. Now again, we have the potential for resistance at these lows. So we've been selling this market from this price in here, and we are monitoring this closely. We do have a take profit just below this level of support, 7,500 level effectively, and we have our take profit just above that level. So we don't know whether we'll get a pullback and then we'll get the next leg lower, or whether prices will just continue lower as things currently stand. So we'll watch this market very closely. Now, another market we're going to suggest to sell and look for opportunities over the course of the day is the New Zealand dollar. And don't forget, the New Zealand is currently on a bank holiday, so so a lot of the move that has probably occurred over the evening. This has been a little bit volatile today, even though the market has been closed. So we are seeing this continuation squeeze of prices pushing lower from last night, and we expect them to continue lower as well. So looking from the daily time frame, we have a really nice sideways moving market and a confirmed break of these lows, pushing prices lower. So the next sort of level really that we'd be looking for this market to move towards would be in and around this kind of level in here. So there's a nice potential for risk reward down to that level to begin with, and then down to the 67.92, especially if we get continued strength coming into the US dollar. So we'll be watching both markets very, very closely. But this is one that we're going to suggest trading for the day. We'll certainly be looking very closely at it. The euro pound, as you can see, bit of indecision. We're within the range bound bit of price action, so we're just going to monitor that one closely. The euro yen is looking like we're threatening to push higher. We're still within these highs, so we do appreciate there's a bit of strength coming in. Sorry, there's a bit of weakness coming into the yen, and we're just seeing the beginnings of that potentially. So let's sit tight and wait and see what potential opportunities may exist. The S&P 500, we're getting a pullback off this level, and it's just a bit of indecision. We kind of expected to push lower, to be fair, but we're going to monitor these global industry markets very, very closely because they're a bit on the messy side, let's say. Again, here the Dow Jones, the pullback to the support 24,469. It still needs to determine what this market wants to do. A little bit of buying coming into the Nasdaq, but we are just continuing. It looks like we're continuing to pull back in that market. The FTSE has sort of opened marginally higher. So if we look at this on the 15-minute price chart, you can see the little gap to the upside and this market pushing higher. So we will keep a close eye on this. It is kind of messy from a price action perspective, so we're not. It doesn't fill us with huge joy really watching these global indices because they need to kind of work themselves out a little bit. It's a bit choppy and a bit unclear, let's say. So the DAX, the German 30, we can see we are currently above the 12,567, but it's threatening like we're looking to push lower in that one. So just observe these markets just for now. The gold market, we are seeing prices come down to this low and just procrastinate. So we do expect these markets to push lower below these lows of 13.19 and a nice little push down to the 13.06. But we've got a little bit of a hesitation now, so we'll watch this market closely as well. Crude oil is yesterday's turned out quite bullish in the end. It was quite bearish for most of the day, and the bulls have got hold of this market and started to drive price higher. So as you can see, we're running into this level of resistance up here at these highs. So let's see how price behaves around that level. And finally, another market we quite like to look at from a purely technical perspective is this sort of mild uptrend. We can see a bit of weakness coming into the yen, and we're just going to put it on our watch list. We like the idea of a break above the 150-160 level, and it could constitute a bit of a leg pushing higher in this market, especially if we get continued weakness in the yen and we get weakness across the board in the yen as well. Then this might constitute purely from a technical perspective. We are fully aware that the pound has been weak against the dollar. So this is one of these very neat and concise setups which we'd be looking to capitalize on. Even if we got a little move to the upside, we'd look to mitigate risk as quickly as we could and see if we capture a really nice risk reward trade to the upside in this market. So that's the pound yen. So what we've identified in terms of a trade plan is a sell trade in the New Zealand dollar, a buy trade in the dollar yen, and a buy trade in the pound yen. So let's look at those. In fact, we'll start with the pound yen. So we're just pulling back off this high. That's all this market is. That's all it's doing. We can see that there's a lot of resistance around this level. So that resistance is likely to continue. So do we get a little push from this level and make new highs? we shall see. These are 15-minute charts. So we've had 1 hour of a bit of bearish price action here in the dollar yen, and this level here could constitute potentially an interesting opportunity to buy this market and make new highs. So we'll be watching this price action very, very closely. So that's the dollar yen. So moving on to the last two trades, the first one being the dollar yen. We'll do it this way round. So the dollar yen. So we are looking to trade at yen weakness because we have been in a bit of consolidation for quite some time, and we are just looking to capitalize on this market to push forward. As you can see from the daily time frame, we are at kind of these highs. So we'd like to capture a pullback if we get a nice sustained pullback. However, it might be easier said than doing because we do have this sort of grinding price action, pushing prices higher, which is not great. So we are moving in the right direction, but it's quite shallow, as you can see, and it's not giving great opportunities to buy this market. I suppose the best opportunity was probably in there when prices came back to the 108.65 level, and then has been grinding higher ever since. However, we've only seen a 20 pip move since, what time was that? In the early hours of the morning. So we just want to bide our time, wait for either a really nice pullback in this market to take it long again, or if we get some consolidation for a period of time, maybe there could be an opportunity to buy the breakout. We just obviously have to be careful with it. So that's the dollar yen, and then finally the New Zealand dollar. This one's quite straightforward. We're obviously at the lows, so we want to see a bit of a pullback. Again, this is a little bit grinding, which is fine. We've got all of this. We've got the weight of all of these sellers pushing prices lower. So that's what we want to be doing. We want to be looking for opportunities to sell this market. In terms of price action, we'd probably like to see prices bounce back to these levels. If we got a little bit of an extended pullback, selling this market from a much higher price around the 71.50 would actually make a little bit more sense for us. So we just have to be patient with a couple of these markets. As you can see, we want them to play themselves out and allow ourselves to just capture the good moves without committing too much capital to these trades, and certainly not selling the lows unless you get a period of consolidation where you're actually focusing on a breakout trade to the downside. Okay, so that is just about it. We've looked at our three main trades. A lot needs to happen, so maybe the morning session might be a little bit on the quieter side. If we start getting a little bit of a pullback in these markets, maybe the afternoon session we can look to capitalize on it. So on that note, I'm quite happy to let you go for the morning. Do have a good trading day, and obviously thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next time. So from everyone here, take care and bye for now.